Many people grow resentful towards life when they experience tragedy. They begin to hate or resent life as a whole because of the pain that they're experiencing. But this comes from an ignorant perspective lacking, let's say, a perspective lacking wisdom, a perspective that lacks gratitude. Talked about this in my other videos, but I've recently had to say goodbye to a person I considered very near and dear to me. And it was a very painful experience, and it still pains me to this day. But I'm not hating of it. I'm not resenting of it. I don't hate life. I still love life, and I'm still grateful for it. Because I know that what I have experienced is beautiful. And the only reason I'm in this pain right now is because I got the pleasure of experiencing something beautiful, something worthwhile. Every pleasure has a pain to it, and every pain has a pleasure to it. We could not be grateful for pleasure, and we could not enjoy pleasure if there was no pain. These things are needed to balance each other out. In the same way, we could not appreciate the day if the night never came, nor the night if the day ever came. No matter how tragic your situation is, there's always something to be grateful for in it. There's always a way to find gratitude. Even in the darkest depths of your despair, of pain and tragedy, there's some meaning to be found. There's some light to be carved. If you're brave enough to embrace the darkness, you can convert it to light. You stop resisting the darkness, you can convert it to light. You can absorb it and convert it to light. No matter how terrible your tragedy is, no matter how much it pains you, there's always something to be grateful for. Many people lose their loved ones when they die and their time comes, or maybe they died at a young age and they resent life for it. They say, why did this have to be taken away from me? Why did this have to end? Why did they have to die? It's so unfair. But is it really? Think about it. Why do you feel that pain? Why are you in such a tragic state right now? Because you experienced something beautiful. You had the honor of being present of something amazing, of something worthwhile, of something worthy of your human experience. We neglect one thing, we give attention to the other, and then we get surprised when the thing that we neglected, which is as much as part of life as the other thing, pops up in our life. And we begin to hate and resent life, and we call it unfair and unjust. But life is a series of chances of mysterious happenings. That's where its absurdity lies. That's where adventure lies. That's where we can experience this thing. Can you really tell me you'd be happy to live if you knew everything that was going to happen? I don't think so, and I don't think anybody else would. I don't think we'd appreciate our loved ones if they were here forever. I don't think we'd appreciate any of this if it was here forever. And I speak with this of this with a peculiar, let's say, aggression, because it disturbs me. Some people are so deeply ungrateful for their being that they dare to resent life itself, the very thing that gave them the opportunity to experience that beautiful thing they quote unquote lost. There's some things in life that happen, and it's hard to be grateful for them. It's hard to be grateful for tragedies that seemingly have no meaning, but there is some gratitude to be found there. Even in the worst case, even if someone you loved got murdered or or anything like that, or something of the sort, there's some gratitude to be found. You can't tell me it's impossible, because it is possible. There is meaning to be found in any given situation. You can choose to resent and hate life for the pain that you're in, but who would you be doing any favors by doing that? Would you be helping yourself? I don't think so. Because when you hate and you resent and you dwell, it only hurts you. You're the only person that it's affected by. And that pain that you feel on the inside, you'll start taking it out on others. And the people closest to you will get hurt first because they're closest to you. That's how it always is. So why do you hate this thing that happened to you? Why do you resent it? Instead of being grateful for something in it. There's something. There's always something. There's always some light to be created, some darkness to be converted and absorbed. You can create good, you can create meaning, you can create love out of this. You always have that power. You're more powerful than you could ever imagine. And yet you choose surrender to your least powerful state, to the easiest and to the most destructive option. I mean, think about it. Can you really walk around for the rest of your life hating this whole thing? When you say that you hate life because of what happened to you, do you really mean that? How much of it do you mean it? Is there nothing in this life that you enjoy anymore? I doubt that that's the case. I think there's one thing, one tragic thing that happens to us. And in that moment of tragedy, we have two choices. We can, we can either accept it for what it is and find some gratitude in it, some meaning, some strength, some perseverance, or we can surrender to it, to the tragedy of it. And when I say surrender, I don't mean let go of it and allow ourselves to feel the pain, but I mean resist it. I mean not even try to find something good in it, to mark ourselves as a victim, because it's the easiest thing to do. It's easy to abandon responsibility, to say that this whole thing was put here unjustly, and this whole experience was a giant, cruel game made to just trick me into this absurd tragedy. It's easy to say that, but it's hard to say, although I feel this pain, I'm grateful for it, for I'm only alive to feel it, and to be living is more than a blessing. And many people neglect that. They say, how can you tell me living is a blessing when I suffer so much, when I'm in pain? I'm in such great tragedies. And I would tell you that it is your perspective that causes you to suffer, your state of mind, your state of being. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. Tragedy will come in this life. We will have to come to terms with things that will hurt us, things that will make us want to curse our sensitivity. But we have to remember that the same senses that allow us to be in this pain, to feel this tragedy, are the same senses that give us the ability to be happy, feel joy, to love one another. How can we not be grateful for that? To not be grateful for that is to love the apples but hate the tree that bears it. You can't take one thing without the other. You can't nitpick life. Life is one whole thing, and you're a part of it. You're here. You're alive. And as hard as it might be right now to understand this, there's things to be grateful for. There's a life to be lived. There's a meaning to be found. There's fun to be had. There's pleasure to be enjoyed. There's adventure. You know, there's more to this life than just pain. If all this life was just pain, then it wouldn't be life, because it wouldn't be whole without pleasure to stand by its side. We need the yin and yangs of life, and we have to learn how to be grateful for them. Because when we resent life, it only hurts us. It brings us nothing. It gives us nothing. We have the power to transform things to our own benefit. If we simply stop resisting the happenings of life, if we just allow ourselves to absorb them, to be with them, to be one with them, we can use that same tragedy to create some sort of bliss. If you've lost a loved one, then you can use that pain to never take a loved one for granted. You can use that pain to love more than you ever did before. You can use that pain to be a kinder, more gentler person for the people going through the same pain as you, for the world. Not only humans, but for everything, nature. Because you're a part of that too. You're a part of everything. Gratitude is the greatest strength. It's the greatest form of love. When we show gratitude, we show appreciation. We recognize something. We love it. And in learning to love that something, we gain an amazing power like no other. The power to decide how the things which happen to us define us, what they make us into, to decide how we will react to them, or, or how they will determine who we are. No matter what you've went through, there's always something to be grateful for. And that may be hard to see, and I completely understand, because I've been there too. I know it's sometimes hard to find gratitude in situations where it seems like the only fair thing to do would be to hate the whole thing for its seeming unfairness. But trust me, hate is nothing but a temporary ignorance. Time and time again, I've seen it. Hate has never served me. It has never helped me. Hate has only ever brought me down. It has only ever made me weaker. The only thing that empowered me, that gave me the strength to find meaning and keep living and loving is love. Forge joy and peace within you. That is something which is within your power. You may not always be happy. You may not always be joyful. You may not always experience pleasurable things. But the same senses that give you the honor of experiencing them, the same senses that give you the honor of experiencing pain and tragedy. You have to accept them as a whole, because without another they would not exist. Love them as a whole and be grateful for life as a whole.